Alien girl gets stuck in a tight hole. Luckily, a human was passing by. The relentless sun beat down on Travis Stewart's broad shoulders as he trudged through the winding canyons of the uncharted desert world. His heavy combat armor, now coated in a thick layer of reddish dust, felt like an oven in the scorching heat. The compact survival pack on his back contained enough supplies for another week of exploration, while the military-grade blaster at his hip provided a reassurance weight. As an experienced hand scout, Travis had seen his fair share of strange sights across the galaxy, but what lay before him now definitely ranked among the more unusual encounters. Right there, protruding from a narrow crevice in the towering rock face, was someone's lower half, long, graceful legs wrapped in thin strips of cloth in a style reminiscent of desert nomads, and what appeared to be shimmering blue skin catching the sunlight. The legs were kicking frantically, accompanied by muffled cursing from within the rock. Travis blinked, his weathered face breaking into an amused smirk beneath his thick beard as he watched the spectacle unfold. "Hey, who's there? Help me," a distinctly feminine voice called out irritably from inside the crevice, clearly aware of his presence. "Did you plan to get stuck like this? Or is this some kind of ritual from your people?" he remarked dryly, unable to resist the urge to tease. "Very funny, human. Just pull me out," she snapped back. Stepping closer, Travis assessed the situation with practiced eyes. From what he could see, the trapped alien was humanoid with strikingly beautiful proportions. Her skin had an exotic blue sheen that seemed to shimmer with each movement. "So you got stuck head first, huh?" He leaned against the rock, thoroughly entertained by the situation. "Thanks, Captain Obvious. Just get me out of here before I die of embarrassment," she growled. Travis sighed, moving into position. "All right, hold still." He carefully gripped her hips, noting the firm muscle beneath his hands. "This might be uncomfortable. Careful," she yelped as he gave the first experimental tug. "I'm trying," he grunted, adjusting his stance for better leverage. After a few more forceful pulls, he suddenly slipped free, only to crash directly into him, sending them both tumbling across the sand. They rolled to a stop with her on top, her face mere inches from his. Her hair, he now saw, was in striking silver that seemed to catch and reflect the desert sunlight, while her bright shimmering blue eyes held both annoyance and something else. Interest, perhaps. "Well, that's certainly an original way to introduce yourself," he noted with a smirk. She blinked, then huffed, her hand still gripping the edges of his armor. "You owe me," she stated matter-of-factly as she stood up, brushing sand from her clothing. "I just saved you," Travis protested, pushing himself up to his feet. "And who asked you to grab me so roughly?" Or she shot back, though there was a hint of playfulness in her tone. Now that she was fully visible, Travis could better appreciate her exotic beauty. Delicate golden jewelry adorned her arms, emphasizing her predatory grace. Her clothing, while practical for the desert environment, had an elegant quality to it. "I'm Travis Stewart," he offered, extending his hand in the universal gesture of greeting. She looked at his hand for a moment before taking it in her own. "Lorella," she replied simply. "Scout of the Aether E people. Interesting place for scouting," he commented, gesturing to the narrow crevice she'd been stuck in. "I was tracking unusual energy readings," she explained, her expression turning serious. "There's something in these canyons that shouldn't be here." Travis's own expression hardened. As a Terran scout, he was well aware of how often unusual energy readings led to trouble. "Care to elaborate?" "I would," Ella said, "but I'd rather not discuss it out in the open." She glanced meaningfully at the sun. "My camp isn't far. You're welcome to join me, unless you have somewhere else to be." Travis considered her offer. His own mission was purely exploratory, and something about this situation piqued his professional interest. Plus, he had to admit the company wouldn't be unwelcome. "Lead the way," he agreed with a slight bow. As they began walking, Travis couldn't help but notice how Lorella moved with fluid grace despite the rough terrain. She might have gotten herself stuck in an embarrassing situation, but everything about her screamed capable warrior. This journey, he suspected, was about to get very interesting indeed. The sun was setting over the canyon ridges as Travis followed Lorella to her camp. A cleverly concealed alcove nestled against the weathered rock faced the entrance, was barely visible, masked by natural formations and what appeared to be some kind of advanced camouflage technology. "Impressive setup," Travis commented as they ducked inside. The temperature dropped noticeably in the shade, and he found himself appreciating the wrist bite from the relentless heat. The camp itself was a testament to efficient design. A small but sophisticated shelter dominated one side, while various pieces of scanning equipment lined the opposite wall. In the center, a compact cooking unit hummed quietly. "Make yourself comfortable," Laurel gestured to a collection of cushions near the cooking unit. "I imagine you have questions." Travis removed his heavy armor, setting it carefully aside before settling onto one of the cushions. His black undersuit, while still protective, allowed him to move more freely. He couldn't help but notice Laurel's appreciative glance at his muscular frame. "The energy readings you mentioned." He began, accepting a container of cool water she offered. "What exactly caught your attention?" Lorella sat across from him, her movements fluid and graceful. "My people have been monitoring this sector for centuries. We're particularly sensitive to certain types of energy signatures. It's part of our biology." She paused, studying him with those striking blue eyes. "But recently, we've detected something different, something that shouldn't exist in this part of space." "Different? How?" Travis asked, taking a long drink he washed as Lorella began preparing some kind of meal, her movements precise and measured. "It's complex," she replied, her fingers dancing over the cooking unit's controls. "The A theory, or empaths of sorts. We can sense energy patterns, emotions, life forces. But this signature, it's like nothing we've encountered before. It feels almost human." Travis raised an eyebrow. "Human out here?" "Precisely." "Why, it's concerning," Lorella said, turning to face him. "Fully, your species is fascinating, you know, so young compared to many races, yet you've achieved so much. Your adaptability, your determination, it's remarkable." There was something in her tone that made Travis's pulse quick. "And slightly, you seem to know quite a bit about humans. I've made it my business to study your kind," she admitted, a slight smile playing at her lips. "Though I must say, hands-on research is proving far more interesting than theoretical knowledge." The air between them seemed to charge with unspoken tension. Travis found himself increasingly aware of her presence, the way she moved, the subtle shifts in her expression, the exotic beauty of her features. "And what have you learned so far?" he asked, his voice dropping slightly lower. Laurel's smile widened as she served what appeared to be some kind of local fruit and protein combination. "That humans are full of surprises. Your emotional capacity, for instance. It's extraordinary. You feel things so intensely, yet you manage to channel those feelings into remarkable achievements." "We're a passionate species," Travis agreed, accepting the offered food. Their fingers brushed briefly during the exchange, and he felt a slight electric tingle where their skin met. "Yes," Lorella murmured, her eyes meeting his. "I'm beginning to understand that firsthand." As they shared the meal, their conversation flowed naturally between professional matters and more personal topics. The setting sun cast long shadows through the camp's entrance, painting everything in warm, intimate hues. "Earlier, when you found me," Lorella said, a hint of embarrassment coloring her voice, "I was tracking one of those energy signatures. It led me right to that crevice, and you thought the best approach was to dive in head first." Travis teased, earning himself a playful glare. "I'll have you know that among my people such dedication to investigation is highly respected," she retorted, though her eyes sparkled with amusement. "Though I must admit, being rescued by a human wasn't part of my plan. Life rarely goes according to plan," Travis observed, shifting slightly closer. "Sometimes that's not such a bad thing." The air between them grew heavier with unspoken possibilities. Laurel's skin seemed to shimmer more intensely in the fading light, and Travis found himself fascinated by the way it caught and reflected the evening. "GL among the other," Laurel said softly, "we believe that chance encounters are rarely truly random. The universe has its own way of bringing together those who are meant to meet." "And what does the universe have in mind for us?" Travis asked, his voice low and intimate. Laurel moved closer, her movements deliberate and graceful. "I sense no deception in you, Travis Stewart. Your energy signature is compelling, strong yet controlled, passionate yet disciplined." Her hand reached out, fingers hovering just above his chest. "May I?" Travis nodded, and her touch sent a wave of warmth through his body. He could feel something, a gentle probing like soft tendrils of energy exploring his essence fascinating. She breathed, "Your life force, it's unlike anything I've encountered before." Their eyes met, and in that moment the professional pretense between them began to dissolve. Travis reached up, gently catching her hand against his chest. The contact sent another wave of that peculiar energy coursing through them. "Both your people," he said quietly. "They communicate through energy as well as words, don't they?" Lorella nodded, her silver hair catching the last rays of sunlight. "We share emotions, sensations. It's a deeper form of connection than mere physical touch." Her free hand traced patterns on arm. "Though I must say physical sensations with humans are intriguingly intense. Is that your scientific observation?" Travis asked, his thumb drawing circles on her palm. She laughed softly, the sound like wind chimes in a desert breeze. "Perhaps I need to conduct more thorough research." The tension between them built naturally, neither rushing nor forcing the moment. Travis could feel her energy signature pulsing gently against his consciousness, curious and inviting. "Among my people," Lorella explained, her voice taking on a husky quality, "physical intimacy is seen as a natural progression of energy alignment when two beings resonate strongly." She let the implication hang in the air. Travis smiled, reaching up to brush a strand of silver hair from her face. "And how's our residence?" Instead of answering with words, Lorella leaned forward, pressing her forehead to his. Suddenly Travis felt a rush of sensations: warmth, attraction, curiosity, desire, all flowing between them like a cosmic dance that's incredible. He breathed, overwhelmed by the intensity of their connection. "This is just the beginning," Laurel whispered, her fingers tracing the line of his jaw. "Humans have such powerful life forces, such raw energy, the combination of physical and energetic connection." Their first kiss was like a supernova, an explosion of sensation and emotion that transcended mere physical contact. Lel's natural ability to share energy transformed every touch into an experience that went beyond normal human perception. As night fell over the desert world, they explored this new territory together, discovering the unique harmony between human passion and ethereal energy manipulation. Their connection grew deeper, more profound, as physical and spiritual intimacy merged into something entirely new. Later, as they lay entwined on the cushions, Laurel traced patterns on Travis's chest while their energies continued to intermingle in gentle waves. The desert night had brought a pleasant coolness to the air, and the stars peeked through the entrance of their shelter. "I never expected," she began, then chuckled softly. "Well, I never expected any of this when I got stuck in that crevice today." Travis smiled, running his fingers through her silver hair. "Is that why you were really there, hoping some passing human would find you?" She playfully swatted his chest. "Don't get cocky, Stuart. Though I must admit human confidence is oddly appealing." "Just one of our many charm," he replied, pulling her closer. "Along with our powerful life forces and raw energy." Apparently, Lorella propped herself up on an elbow, her blue skin glowing softly in the darkness. "You laugh, but you don't understand how unique humans are. Most species we encounter are either purely physical or purely energy-based. But humans, you exist in both realms simultaneously, even if you don't realize it. Is that what you were studying before, human energy patterns?" She nodded, her expression growing more serious. "That's what makes the energy signature I detected so concerning. It's like someone or something is trying to replicate human energy patterns artificially." But why and how? Travis considered this, his tactical mind engaging despite their intimate situation. Could it be dangerous? Potentially, which is why she hesitated, then continued, "Which is why I should probably feel guilty about getting so distracted from my mission." "Do you feel guilty?" Laurel's smile returned, bright and mischievous. "Not in the slightest. In fact, I think this connection might prove invaluable to my investigation." "Is that what we're calling it, an investigation?" She laughed again, the sound mixing with the gentle whisper of the desert wind. "Among other things, the desert dawn brought with it both new possibilities and unexpected complications." Travis woke to find Laurel already at her scanning equipment, her blue skin catching the early morning light. Their shared night had left in lingering energy signature between them that he could now somehow sense. A gentle hum of connection that felt both foreign and inexplicably right. The signal stronger, she announced without turning around. Your presence seems to be amplifying my ability to track it. Travis stretched and moved to join her, placing a hand on her shoulder. The contact sent a pleasant ripple of energy through them both. That's convenient considering how we met. Indeed, she smiled, leaning back against him. Though I should warn you, a soft chime from her equipment interrupted her words. Her expression shifted to one of concern. We have company. Other Ether scouts approaching. Before Travis could respond, three figures materialized at the entrance of their shelter, their blue skin several shades darker than Laurel's. The leader, a tall male with elaborate golden markings, fixed them with a penetrating stare. Scout Lorella, he said, his tone carefully neutral. Your energy signature has changed significantly since your last report, Commander Thyrax. Lorella acknowledged, straightening, but not moving away from Travis. I was about to send an update. I've made several significant discoveries. The commander's eyes flickered between them, taking in their proximity and the lingering traces of their shared energy. So I see, and this human is one of them. This is Travis Stewart, a Terran scout, Lorella introduced. Formally, his presence has proven invaluable to my investigation. The two other Ether scouts exchanged meaningful looks. One of them, a female with intricate silver markings, stepped forward. Lorella, you know the protocols about intimate contact with other species during missions. Travis felt Leela's energy spike with irritation. With respect to Leah, those protocols were established before we fully understood human capabilities. Their energy signatures are unique. Yes, we're aware of your fascination with humans, Thrax interrupted. However, this level of energy bonding is unprecedented and potentially dangerous. The third scout added, his expression stern. Travis cleared his throat. I'm standing right here, you know. If there's a concern about my presence, I'd appreciate being included in the discussion. The three newcomers seemed startled by his directness. Thrax's eyes narrowed slightly. You can sense our energy signatures, thanks to Lorella. Yes, and I can tell you're more worried than angry right now. A moment of tense silence followed before Thix unexpectedly laughed. Remarkable, truly remarkable. Perhaps your theories about humans weren't so far-fetched after all. Lorella, I've been trying to tell you this for years. Lorella said, her hand finding Travis's. Humans don't just generate energy signatures. They can learn to interact with them. Their adaptability is extraordinary. Leah moved closer, her scientific curiosity clearly overriding her initial disapproval, and this connection happened naturally, without technological assistance, more naturally than you might imagine. Travis replied with a slight smirk, earning him an elbow in the ribs from Laurel. The artificial signal I've been tracking, Lorella redirected. It's attempting to replicate this kind of connection, but now with Travis's help I can trace it more accurately. Thyra's expression grew serious. Show me. Laurel led them into her equipment, displaying a complex pattern of energy waves. See these resonance patterns. They're almost identical to human signatures, but there's something artificial about them with Travis here. The differences are more obvious because you can compare them directly. Leah amused, studying the readings. Fascinating. The third scout, who had remained quiet, suddenly spoke up. Commander, if someone is attempting to artificially replicate human energy patterns, yes, Kane Thyrax nodded grimly. The implications are concerning. He turned to Travis. It seems we owe you an apology. Human, your involvement with Lorella may have given us crucial insight into a potentially serious threat. Does this mean you're not going to order me to cease contact? Lorella asked, a challenge in her voice. Tyra's lips twitched. Would you comply if I did not? A chance, she replied firmly, her energy signature pulsing with determination. Then we'll have to adapt our protocols, Thix conceded. But first we need to track down the source of these artificial signatures. Laurel, you and your partner will take point on this investigation. And Callan will provide backup. Travis felt Lel's energy signature brighten with satisfaction, And you, Commander, I'll return to headquarters, update our superiors about these developments, including the unexpected benefits of human-etheric cooperation. His tone carried a hint of amusement, though perhaps we'll omit some of the more intimate details. After the commander departed, Aliyah approached them with undisguised curiosity. I've studied human physiology, but I've never observed such strong energy compatibility. Would you be willing to participate in some basic readings? Aliyah Lural warned. This isn't one of your laboratory experiments. Actually, Travis interjected, I'm curious too. Might help us understand why someone's trying to replicate human energy patterns. The next hour was spent with Aliyah taking various measurements, while Kin kept watch outside. The proximity of the tests kept rekindling Travis and Lel's connection, making it difficult to maintain professional detachment. Extraordinary, Aliyah muttered. Reviewing the data, the resonance patterns are perfectly harmonized. It's as if your energy signatures have adapted to complement each other. Like I said, Lural smiled, her fingers intertwined with Travis's. Humans are remarkable. Speaking of remarkable, Travis said, shouldn't we be tracking that signal? Lorella nodded, turning to her equipment. It's stronger today, leading deeper into the canyons. She paused, glancing at him. Sure you're ready for more adventure after everything else? He grinned. This should be easy. As they prepared for their expedition, Aya and Callan gathered their own equipment. The morning sun had risen, fully promising another scorching day ahead. One more thing, Aya said, approaching Travis with a small device. This will help you focus your energy signature. Since you and Lorella are connected, it should enhance your ability to detect the artificial signals. Travis allowed her to attach the device to his temple. Immediately, his awareness of the energy patterns around him intensified. Lel's signature blazed like a beautiful aurora in his perception, while Aliyah and Callan appeared as distinct, cooler patterns. That's intense. He breathed, adjusting to the enhanced sensitivity. Just wait until we're tracking together, Lorella murmured close to his ear, sending a shiver of energy through him. Our combined signatures will be much more effective than working separately. Kin cleared his throat. If you two are quite finished, we should move out before the day gets too hot. As they left the Sheeler, Travis noticed how naturally they fell into formation. He and Laurel in front, Aliyah and Kale, and flanking them, their energy signatures created a harmonious network, allowing them to communicate without words. You know, Lorella said as they navigated the canyon paths, when I got stuck in that crevice yesterday, I never imagined it would lead to all this. Travis smiled, remembering their first encounter. Sometimes getting stuck is the best way to move forward. That's very profound for someone who spent yesterday making jokes about my predicament. What can I say? You bring out my philosophical side. Their playful banter was interrupted by a sudden spike in the energy readings ahead. The canyon narrowed into a shadowy passage, and something about the energy patterns felt wrong. The narrow passage ahead pulsed with artificial energy signatures that made Travis's newly enhanced senses tingle uncomfortably through their connection. He could feel Lel's growing unease as well. Something's not right, she murmured, her hand tightening on his arm. These patterns, they're too perfect, too structured. Aliyah's voice came from behind them, tense with concern, like they're being generated by a computer rather than occurring naturally. Allure, Kin concluded grimly. We're being drawn in. Travis's tactical training kicked in. Then we should probably expect company. Before he could finish, the canyon wall suddenly hummed with energy. Dark figures emerged from hidden alcoves, tall insectoid beings with kittish armor and multifaceted eyes that gleamed with malevolent intelligence. Anti-Arians, Lela hissed, her energy signature flaring defensively. I should have known. The parasitic race, Travis asked, remembering briefings about the energy-consuming species. His hand moved to his blaster while maintaining physical contact with Laurel, their combined energy signatures creating a protective field around them. How observant, human! One of the Arians clicked, its mandibles moving in what might have been amusement. And how fortunate for us that you've brought exactly what we need. The insectoid aliens moved with unsettling grace, forming a circle around the group. Their own energy signatures were dark and hungry, creating an oppressive atmosphere in the narrow canyon. You've been trying to replicate human energy patterns, Lorella accused, her blue skin brightening with anger. That's what the artificial signatures were about, merely the first step. Another Nexian race, But why settle for imitation when we can harvest the real thing, especially when it's been so conveniently enhanced by ethereal connection? Travis felt Lel's energy surge protectively around him. You're not touching him, your species' fascination with humans is well-documented. Little Scout, the first Narian, chittered, such passionate defenders of a primitive race. But their energy is anything but primitive if you know so much about humans, Travis said, his voice steady. Then you know we don't go down easily. The Narian collective energy signature pulsed with dark amusement. No, you don't. That's what makes this so delicious. The stronger you fight, the more potent your energy becomes. Aliyah and Callan moved closer, their energy signatures merging with Travis and Laurel to form a stronger defensive barrier. The Nexian compound eyes reflected the desert sun, their kiddish bodies casting strange shadows across the canyon walls. You underestimate the strength of our bond, Lorella declared, her fingers intertwining with Travis's. Their combined energy flared brilliantly, causing several Narian to step back. Fascinating, the lead Xarian observed. The human's energy signature has already adapted to match ethereal patterns. Such potential, such power. Once we harvest it, you won't. Travis interrupted, his voice carrying an authority that made even the insectoids pause. You want to know why humans are so special? We don't just adapt, we evolve. We don't just survive, we thrive. And we protect what's ours. The surge of energy that accompanied his words was unexpected and powerful. Through their connection, Lorella felt the raw strength of human determination, the unyielding will that had carried their species across the stars. It was intoxicating, empowering, and it made their shared energy signature pulse with unprecedented intensity. Now, Kin Aliyah shouted, activating some kind of device that amplified their combined energy field. The Narian recoiled as the wave of pure energy washed over them, their own dark signatures flickering like flames in a wind. But they quickly regrouped, their hunger seemingly intensified by the display. Yes, yes, their leader chittered excitedly. This is exactly what we need. Take them. The battle erupted in a chaos of energy pulses in physical combat. Travis's military training merged seamlessly with Laurel's ether abilities. Their movements perfectly synchronized. Each touch between them amplified their power, turning their intimate connection into a weapon. The Narian hadn't anticipated their weakness is in their joint segments. Lorella communicated through their bond, her energy guiding his aim. Travis's blaster shots found their marks with devastating accuracy, while Laurel energy pulses disrupted the Narian attempts to drain their power. Aliyah and Callan fought with practiced efficiency, but it was the unprecedented synergy between human and ether that truly kept the insectoids at bay. Every time the Narian tried to separate them, Travis and Lel's bond grew stronger, their shared energy creating barriers that the parasitic beings couldn't penetrate. Impossible, the Narian leader screeched, mandibles clicking in frustration. No species should be able to resist our drainage. You don't understand humans at all, do you? Travis grinned, pulling Lorella close as they deflected another attack. We don't just resist, we adapt, we learn, we grow stronger. Their proximity sent waves of energy cascading through the canyon, the intimate nature of their bond transforming into raw power of the Narian attempts to replicate human energy signatures had failed to account for one crucial factor: the emotional depth that powered human resilience. And we're not alone, Laurel added, her body pressed against Travis as they channeled their combined strength. Humans don't just adapt themselves, they help others evolve too. Your artificial signatures could never replicate this. The tide of battle shifted as Travis and Lel's connection deepened further, their shared energy creating patterns the Narian couldn't predict or counter. Each touch, each synchronized movement, each moment of intimate contact generated waves of power that seemed to strengthen not just them, but Aliyah and Callan as well. Their bond is actually growing stronger. Under pressure, Aliyah observed with scientific amazement. Even as she fought, the human's adaptive capabilities are exponentially enhancing. AEI energy manipulation, the Nexian leader chittered in frustrated rage. This isn't possible. Human energy signatures should be simple, primitive. That's your first mistake, AK. Travis called out, his hand firmly clasped with Laurel as they launched another combined attack. Assuming anything about humans is simple through Their connection, Lorella could feel the pure exhilaration coursing through Travis, the uniquely human joy of defying expectations, of overcoming impossible odds. It was intoxicating, addictive, and it made their shared energy pulse with even greater intensity. Her second mistake, Laurel added, her blue skin, practically glowing with their combined power, was thinking you could control something this pure, this natural. What exists between us isn't just energy, is it something you could never replicate or understand. The Nexian dark energies signatures began to falter as their carefully laid trap backfired. Instead of harvesting human energy, they found themselves overwhelmed by the unprecedented power of human ethereal unity. Fall back, the next Aryan leader finally screeched, its compound eyes reflecting fear for the first time. This specimen is too volatile, too unpredictable. Yeah. As the insectoids retreated, their dark energy signatures fading into the canyon shadows, Travis and Lorella remained connected, their combined power still humming between them. The intimate nature of their bond had transformed into something even the Indra I hadn't thought possible. That Alia breathed, studying her readings with wide eyes. Was extraordinary the way your energies merged under pressure. It's completely unprecedented. Kayan nodded in agreement. The Nexian won't give up easily, though this demonstration will only make them more determined to understand and harness human energy patterns. Let them try, Laurel said firmly, her hands still intertwined with Travis's. They'll never replicate what we have. Travis pulled her closer, their energy signature dancing together in the aftermath of battle 8, because they don't understand that human strength isn't just about power, it's about connection, adaptation, evolution, and love. Lorella added softly, touching his face. They could never replicate that. The desert twilight painted the canyon walls in deep purples and reds as Travis and Lorella prepared to track the retreating Nexians. Their recent battle had left both their energy signatures heightened and intertwined, creating an intimacy that made even simple preparations feel charged with meaning. The residual energy trail is still fresh, Lorella observed, her scanning equipment detecting the dark signature of their enemies. We can follow them to their base. While their weakened Alia and Callan had returned to report to command, leaving Travis and Lorella to pursue the NEX Aryans alone. The privacy allowed their energy bond to flow more freely, each touch and glance between them carrying unspoken promises. You're sure about this? Travis asked, adjusting his armor while watching Lorella move with her natural grace, going after them. Instead of waiting for reinforcements, Laurel paused in her preparations to step close to him, her blue skin glowing softly in the fading